Hi, I'm Danny Ramos, and welcome to this week's edition of Hispanic Speak Out TV, brought to you every week on Bright House Cable, Channel 49 at 9:30 p.m. We have been on the air for 8 years, talking about issues pertinent to the Hispanic community and politics. First thing, let's get a couple of PSAs out of the way. This is the Hispanic Achievers license plate. It is now available. You can have it on your car. It commemorates the 500-year anniversary of Hispanics landing on the coast of Florida and naming Florida, Florida. The plate shows the year 1513, and it shows the ship of the first landing. And this is Orgullo de Ser Hispano. Have this plate on your car. It's available at 360 DMV offices throughout the state of Florida. Another item that I want to make you aware of: if you need a lawyer or you think you're going to need a lawyer, pick up this book. It's a handy booklet that has a lot of information about things you should know on foreclosure, bankruptcy, other issues that you may need to know about if you're looking to hire a lawyer. Plus, it has some lawyers in there that have a description of their services. This booklet is absolutely free of charge. You can find it in any 7-Eleven, actually 165 7-Elevens throughout Central Florida. Again, it's free. Just pick it up, put it in the glove compartment of your car in case you get stopped and you need a lawyer. Okay? My name is Danny Ramos, and I'm here with my co-host, Mr. Miranda, who had a radio show. He's a well-known radio personality. Jose has been on the radio for years, and he co-hosts with me on Hispanic Speak Out. Hi, Jose.
Hey, how are you today?
Good, good. Let's talk about things we talk about. Okay, you want to go first? Or you want me to go first?
Well, last night. Let's go. Did you listen? Did you listen last night?
Well, actually, we're a few days past, but I did listen to the president's speech twice.
Right? Twice.
What do you think?
I thought he hit it out of the ballpark. I thought he was direct. I thought he brought up the issues. I actually think that he quieted the storm in that room with regards to the Republican mindset. So what
do you think the Republican mindset is? What do you think the biggest push that Republicans are making against Barack Obama?
Oh, easy. They're trying to say that he's been a menace to this economy. That because of him, we've had a welfare state, for example. Because of him, we had the housing bubble. Because of him, we had increase in expenditures and stuff like that. And nothing could be further from the truth. He inherited something.
You know that he was the cause of World War II.
Yeah, absolutely.
They left that one out.
I think that when he opened up and his conversation with the American people, because I know he was speaking to Congress, but he was speaking to everybody out there, that he said, we are no longer worried or concerned about Osama bin Laden, and that drew an immediate cheer. And you go and note that at least 20 other people have met similar fates because of their demeanor towards the United States. And so this president has been doing, and I think we talked about it briefly, we talk about it often actually, off the air too, that this president, I think, came in to this office knowing that there was a situation, but not knowing the amount of doo-doo that somebody was going to leave for him. He just had no conscience, at the magnitude of the mess that he was inheriting. And I think that his staff and his group that came in have taken all this time because they've been cleaning up. They have been doing nothing but cleaning up. I think Moses had an easier time.
I'm chuckling because I'm picturing, I believe that, a lot of this stuff is all clandestine things that go on behind the scenes that people never see. Right. The cloak and dagger stuff that happens in high-level politics. Right. Where people die actually, in these games, people get killed, they die, they're found in parks and stuff. Right. And
that's a low blow,
I just cannot.
Clinton errors.
Yeah, whatever. Okay, I don't remember what it was. But I just can't fathom that during the Obama, when he stepped into office, during the beginning of his presidency, that he was completely set up. I think that he was supposed to win, that they let him win. I really believe that, because I think
they want him to fail.
I think what I really think is that the whole country was taken into a direction that was so disastrous that the Republicans didn't want to take the presidency. They just didn't want it.
Sure,
you know what I mean? And what they wanted to do was they wanted, and this is all a clandestine movement, let the Democrats, and then when it collapses, then the Republicans can come in and shape the country exactly the way they want.
Yeah, a Rocky Balboa thing. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. So right. I think that Obama was supposed to I think that he was supposed to collapse under the Fannie Mae thing, under the scandals that affected IGA.
I don't think they gave him enough credit for being smart. And this guy was smart, and he picked the right people at the right time. Maybe not all of them are, marching off to war here, but he did some right things at the right time. He did the bailout. He didn't do enough of the bailout. Okay, he needed to put more money in it, but it showed signs of progress. It's just like the brouhaha that's being stirred up now that he has he extended the war. He made the war worse, for example.
Which war?
Apparently the Afghanistan and Iraq war, that he made it worse. Okay, and the fact is, all he did is pick up the ball from the guy who said we were leaving anyway.
Yeah, well, he can be accused for making it worse by leaving, because when you leave, when you take the plug out, everything's going down the sink. You know, and he can be criticized for that by people who create that scenario of criticism. Yeah. But we had that was really Cheney's war. I
have no problem with that.
And that was Halliburton's war. Where these guys, and that's what scares the hell out of me with Romney, because Cheney is Romney. Okay. They're both come from the same mindset. In other words, no matter what, go for the profits, go for the money. No matter what the costs are, they are trained. It's like having a
companies are people too.
Yeah.
Okay, that mentality. And the fact that he made $380,000 for speaking fees as chump change. Okay.
Yeah, that was insensitive. That was insensitive. But you know what? But that's the world he lives in.
Yeah. But he's not the only one. Grinch is the same way. Newt is
not as bad. You know why? Because at least Newt comes out and says we have to do something about immigration. We can't throw grandmothers and grandfathers out of the country. So he knows.
He put them in an internment camp.
No.
Sweeping floors.
He comes out with some logic that he knows that he's going to face, or the next president is going to face in the Congress. Right. So I think that Newt, if it's the worst of three worlds, what's going to be the worst? Santorum is quiet, but I really think he's a Nazi. This guy's a guy who says, send them back. If they've been here for 25, 30 years, that means they've been breaking the law for 30 years. Get the grandmothers out. Get the grandfathers out.
He's also against women's rights to choose also.
I'm really scared about Santorum. Yeah. He's very rigid, and he's got a view with no flexibility. Right. I'm worried about Romney because Romney is just all about the mighty buck. He's all about the money. And that's what Cheney was about. And we went to a war, and we saw, if we were watching carefully what was going on in that war financially, that Cheney was orchestrating everything to make money. That's what it was. It was a war about money and oil.
Wars create money.
Yeah. And then there's those guys who put themselves in position to benefit from that. So I think that Romney's another Cheney.
The other thing that's being called a question now, and you hear it more now than before, is an attack on capitalism. Is capitalism the way to go forward?
I think so.
Okay, so people are calling into question because we have 99% and we have the 1%ers.
Okay, what's your take on it?
We have over 400, is it 400 or 400,000? Whichever the number is, I believe is 400, that control the entire wealth of the United States, that combined have over half the wealth of the 99%.
The exact 1% controls 40% of the wealth of the country.
Right. And that's 400?
I don't know what the exact number is, but it's 1%. But, the way I look at it is...
But doesn't that frighten you?
No, it doesn't really, as long as there's a check system. Capitalism is okay, but unbridled capitalism, capitalism is a disaster. Because what that brings in is exploitation of the poor, exploitation of...
Our housing bubble was an example.
If you want to see what unbridled capitalism is, go to China. China's got a town called Foxconn. They literally built a city built a city called Foxconn.
And nobody came.
Okay, no, it's full of people.
Yeah.
They brought in people from the countryside, they brought in people from all over China, and they turned them into robots that make computers. And they make the computers for Dell, they make the computers for Microsoft, they make computers, Hewlett-Packard machines,
right.
and they set up rooms where 8 to 10 people sleep in one room, and they go there, and that's what they do. And then they get up and they stand on the assembly line. About 3 weeks ago, they had a whole bunch of them go up on the roof of the building and jump off and committed suicide as a protest. And then the American companies who make their stuff there started to investigate. And that's why I say unbridled capitalism goes to places where they can get away with it, and they can't get away with it here. You know what I mean?
Is there another way other than capitalism?
Bridled capitalism. You have to have restrictions on, and we have that for a long time. It was like when we didn't have the labor laws in the United States. You had children working 12, 13 hours a day.
You mean like Newt wants to do now?
Yeah, okay. I would say I remember that.
Yeah, I just say Newt wants to reinstitute that.
I'm not sure about that. I can't answer that. But
no.
Out of all of them,
he did say that. He said for a janitor, his example was a janitor in New York makes so much money, don't pay one of them, and hire 25 kids in his place. And they can learn.
Well, I'm going to look up. You tell me something like that. I'm going to look it up because I'm going to checkmate you on that. I will agree.
Have our audience look it up.
Okay. Newt.
Email us. You know, fact check us and bring us up to speed if we're wrong. This man wants our children, your children, to start sweeping the hallways so they can learn how to get along, get that motivation in there. Okay, so they know what a job is. Maybe because in their backgrounds,
Hannity always says that he did that. He swept floors. Yeah. You know.
So according to him, they don't have a value system, and this would be a way of creating that. And that's why he got on the reporter Juan the other night, because Juan brought up the same question.
I'll tell you, between Romney and Newt, I'll take Newt any day. If I have to have a dictator, I'll take Newt instead of Romney. I'm really afraid of Romney, but I'm more afraid of Santorum.
What about Ron Paul? He's just a nice little racist guy.
No, you know what my problem is with Ron Paul? I'll tell you what my problem is with Ron Paul. And I don't consider, Ron Paul is too far out when it comes to international relations. And one of the statements that he made was to solve the immigration problem, okay? He said, let's take our troops off the Pakistan border because we have troops on the Pakistani border, okay? Let's take them off, bring them home, and we'll put them on the Mexican border. And everybody clapped. But what they forget is that we, the United States of America, sold Pakistan 300 nuclear warheads on missiles. And our troops are there to make sure nobody goes in because the government of Pakistan is unstable, takes control of those nukes. That's what we're doing there. We're protecting the Taliban or some other crazy idiot from grabbing those nukes. And that's what worried me about Ron Paul, because he didn't know that, and I know that to be a fact.
Okay.
You know, Pakistan has many nuclear warheads that now nobody knows who's controlling them.
Well, that's true.
So that's a big problem. So he's out as far as I'm concerned. But out of the Republicans, I'll go for Newt.
The president made mention,
with all his faults,
the president made mention last night that they have reduced the people coming across the borders, okay, more than any other previous administrations, okay? So apparently we have Republicans on the border doing a little check, you know, like, oh, 1, 2, 3, 4.
But you want to know something? It is a fact that more people have been deported under Obama than any other president.
Absolutely.
Yeah, he's deported more people.
Okay, yes.
Now he has a new policy now, okay, that is going to. But you want to know something? You have departments that are so big that you don't know what they're doing till months after they've done it, you know, because it's hidden within the system. So they say, okay, let's get rid of all the illegal aliens. So they grab people whoever they are, wherever they are. So now the Obama administration is coming out saying, if we're going to grab people, let's concentrate on the guys who are pushing drugs. Let's look for the guys who are here, who have felony convictions, and who are escaping Mexico or another country because they're convicts. Let's concentrate on those guys, which is valid.
It is valid, and I don't think that Latinos across the board are totally up in arms about deporting people. In fact, you have some cheering it in some cases, which it's a kind of a mixed bag of how you're going to deal with it. But we have to do it solid. For example, if we train and educate someone that is a minority that belongs to another country, and we wait till he graduates and then deport him, we're defeating ourselves. I mean, this guy now can make computer chips, probably can make missiles, and now we're sending him back to a country that's going to be unstable.
Well, we should give him the opportunity for residency and to participate.
Absolutely, absolutely.
And the idea of you have kids in this country that are born in this country.
Right. They shouldn't be punished.
And what happens is they become 15 years old, and all of a sudden you're deporting them.
Right.
They don't know that other country. They don't even speak the language.
Not at all.
They don't know the culture. They don't know how to live in that country.
But we have Republican states, state after state, trying to pass draconian rules, and so far the courts are trying to keep up with them and downgrading their laws and saying, no, that's unconstitutional. You can't do that. But for everyone that's knocked down, these guys are coming up with more ways to create more help for the average person. It's all
based upon fear. You see, these guys really think that this Mexican, for example, because the focus is there, that's cutting lawns is taking a job away from a middle-class guy who was making $80,000 a year, and now that guy's going to cut lawns. And that's not the case. We know that's not the case. What it is, it's all based upon fear.
Cutting grass, I might be making that.
Well, he might have 40 Mexicans working for him.
That's true. That's true.
But it's all based upon fear, and it's based upon fear, and that fear is based upon the economy. But who created that?
But that fear is being promoted now once again.
Of course, it's being promoted by every Republican candidate.
And who is it directed at? Okay, it's directed by all those people that still think Ozzie and Harriet are real. Okay, that Leave It to Beaver was, the bomb, and Father Knows Best. Oh my God, that was the pinnacle.
You remember those things?
I watched it on reruns, man. So little TV thing. So.
That's a good disclaimer.
but these people, these people bought into to an ideology that didn't exist at that time either. It never existed at that time. Those little cream puff things were very isolated, but we grew up with that.
Talking about things that don't exist, everybody, Newt Gingrich, Romney, Santorum, all claim to be a Ronald Reagan Republican. What a lie that is. What a myth.
You think so?
Yeah, I know so.
It's a big crock.
Yes, go ahead. Let's have it.
No, I think it's a big crock. You have Mitt Romney on tape saying that he is not a Reaganite. Okay, he is not a Reagan Republican. You have Mitt, and was only mentioned, I believe, one time in the Reagan papers. Yet this guy acts like they were cousins. Okay, it's a crock all the way through, and it's a position that's being pushed, and the poison that's being pushed out there, and that Ronald Reagan somehow was a god. This guy was not a god.
Well, it not only wasn't a god, he isn't what they are identifying him as. Ronald Reagan pushed through immigration reform, giving amnesty to 2.9 million people that were in the country. The law said in the country before 1984. So anybody who was in the country before 1984, he was giving amnesty to. And that was 2.9 million people.
And it made sense.
And they talk like this guy was like, oh, he believed what we believe. Get rid of all of them. And that's not true.
No.
And then you and I know that he raised the actual record, which I have here someplace on a piece of paper.
Taxes.
He raised taxes 10 times.
Yes.
He lowered it once.
Right.
And then he raised it 10 times.
And it might have been quietly, but at the end of the day, this is what he did.
Yeah. So everybody has a misimpression, but time kind of buries facts. With the American public, it seems that we forget things within a week.
Okay.
We got very short memories when it comes to politics.
But why are we so afraid to listen to facts, the real facts? Why are we so afraid as a people?
You want to know something? I don't think
to do that.
I don't think it's that we're afraid. I think it's that we live in momentary time capsules. We turn on the TV, we see what's presented on there for 5-10 minutes, and then we take that with us, and we assume that that's the truth, and it's not. Most people don't have the time. Like you and I, we get into politics, we look it up, we do a little bit of our homework. The average guy doesn't do that. He watches TV, and whatever's thrown at him on CNN or ABC or whatever, or Fox, he believes it.
Right, they believe it.
And it's not true. 90% of the time,
it's not true.
It's twisted.
I've had callers on my show, and you'll saw that, that would swear up and down of the righteousness.
Yeah, you were brutal with those guys.
With the righteousness of them being correct and us being totally wrong. And it's not that I'm trying to take one position necessarily over the other, but common sense would dictate what you should be really looking at. And a dream is a dream, and that's great. It's great to have dreams, but but you got to anchor it somewhere in some sort of reality. We have a segment of the population which is living in fear, which is being stoked with more fear that the little brown guy is coming, or the black guy is coming, or the Indian is coming, or the guy with the tattoos is coming, or the guy with the dreads is coming. And that is so factually incorrect, and it's a lie. And people don't say lie. They say, oh, they're factually incorrect.
That's because when all the other immigrants that came into this country in the 1800s and early 1900s, okay, they all came in and checked and got fingerprinted on computers. Didn't you know that? You know, in 1860, I got a brochure here. I got a brochure here that says 1800s Irish American farmers. Now, right? This is a photo of Irish American. Didn't you know they checked in by computer? Yeah, they had their retinas read. They were fingerprinted. They got identity cards. You know, when they came into the country. Didn't you know that?
It's incorrect. Or racism is a part of the program out there, and we're just right under the scale. Or in some cases, we're just flat out being racist. And people are pointing that out, and it's like there's a segment of the population that is so dense that they can't realize that we've moved on from that level. We've actually moved into the 21st century.
But you know, they're afraid too. Because
what are they afraid? What are they going to take from?
No, I'm talking about these people that want to get all the people out of the country. They're afraid. These people are reacting by fear. You know, they're afraid that they're going to lose their homes. You know, when you go back to why all these people, we have 24% of the foreclosures in the entire country are in Florida.
Right.
That's 1 out of 4 of the entire home ownership in the country is in Florida. But how did we get there? How did that happen? It happened because we had a bunch of crooks running the banking system.
Yeah.
That were unbridled. It was unbridled capitalism. Yeah. And that's what happens when you have unbridled capitalism.
Absolutely.
When you give a guy the key to the vault and say, there it is, why don't you use your judgment to take whatever is fair? You know the guy's going to take everything. Yeah. Because if he's allowed to, he's going to do it. Yeah. Because that's the nature of that mentality. And that's what I'm afraid of with Romney. Romney has been taught all his life, grab as much as you can, and that's where that statement that you made a little while ago, I only made $376,000. You know, right. That's not a lot of money. Right. You know what I mean? That's that mentality.
It's a ton of money. That's more money than you know, a whole boatload of people making in a year. And
the other thing that I saw, and I read an article in Bloomberg, and the other thing that I saw was that Romney was defending his 13.9% tax, which is what a secretary pays or something like that.
To be fair, he's entitled to that, and nobody's begrudging him the fact that he knows how to make money.
No, I think it's good he knows how to make money. Okay. I do begrudge him the fact that he's paying only 13.9.
Well, he's got a few issues. He's got the the accounts in the Cayman Islands and stuff like that.
Yeah, but I know it's legal, but it's wrong, and it's legal because when you take the guys,
right,
okay, that make the laws,
right,
they're going to make those laws to favor themselves. Half the Congress of the United States are millionaires.
Yeah.
Half, the entire Congress.
Well, did you hear the president's statement when he said, and it was in reference to a 60-minute interview that was done a couple of weeks before, where they indicated that some of our lawmakers, this is going to come as a shock to you, but some of our lawmakers are in a position to know what's going to happen ahead of time and have been betting and putting their money in it and making money out of it.
But you want to know something? That's what all of them, whether Democrat or Republican.
He said in equality. He said on both sides.
On both sides, he did say that on both sides.
But he pulled their coat and saying, "I know what you've been doing, and you know who you are."
You see that? You know, him saying that. You know, it's like bringing me over to the other side because I know that too. I know that that congressmen have been dealing underneath the table to make their money. That's how they become millionaires.
Well, that's how. If you look at Newt Gingrich's campaign, when he's not campaigning, he's selling you pots. Okay, so he's selling you books. He has films. Him and his girlfriend.
Yeah, but there's nothing wrong with that.
I'm not saying. I'm thinking that when you're running for the president of the United States, you don't need to sell me hardware. Okay.
Yeah, but that's just in case. He's taking more advantage of the media exposure. He's double selling, you know what I mean? He says, as long as I'm here, let me show you, buy 100,000 of these things, you know? But that's the mentality that really, whatever happened to, you know, I remember when I was a kid, you know, you looked up to the banker. You know, he was the most honest guy on the block. You know, your banker. Now I look at a banker and I'm going, wait a second, I don't know if I trust you with my money. Yeah. You know, as little as I got, I don't know if I trust you with it.
Right. No, you're right. I mean, they have shown a sense of non-sincerity towards the common guy.
Non-sincerity. They've shown just blatant disregard.
See, I was trying to be cleaning up, but you went.
Yeah,
I have other words I want to use from them. So, but you know, that's why this conversation that the president had in the State of the Union, which was where he started with the flag, when he started with all the accomplishments, when he's indicated that we needed to get off the oil and that we were more so now than ever before in the history of the United States, that he was opening up more land, and he also threw in a little tokenism for the pipeline where he did not approve it because it was an environmental issue, and he doesn't have a problem with it, but they got to take care of that environmental issue. So he took care of that, and then what he said, what we need, most of us, a lot of us, unfortunately, I shouldn't say a lot of us, only 1% of Americans actually see combat or go to war. 1% of the population. So everybody else isn't watching Nintendo. All right.
Yeah,
so
going to the ball game.
Going to the ball game. Okay. So, well, a couple of things on that. Going to the ball game, so real fast. Do you know that the Republicans were concerned about their last debate that they had because Brian Gumbel had told, another Brian Gumbel, I'm sorry, Tom Brokaw had told the audience to keep quiet, hold down their applause. And Newt Gingrich was the first one, and the Santorum, that felt that they wanted not to have this. They fought against him by it because he didn't pass it by them, but because, according to Newt, he wanted it to be like a baseball game. Okay? A baseball game. We're talking about the highest office of the United States, and this man wants to play baseball.
He was just trying to appeal to the bottom line, you know what I mean?
And
we're in a real mess. Yeah. I got to tell you, you know, when you really look at the facts, and everybody out there should do their homework, you know, everybody out there should really take a look at the sequence of events that led to the collapse of Fannie Mae, Fannie Mac,
Absolutely.
the collapse of Wall Street, the collapse of the cars, the auto industry, and how they came back.
Which Romney said let them.
Yeah, he let them go down.
Let them go down.
Yeah, because he would have been there to buy and pick it. He would have been gone in there and picked pieces out of it. That's what he does, and that's what makes me afraid of him. Before we go, we're run out of time. One more thing, don't forget the Hispanic Achiever license plate. Okay, DMVs, it's pick up, Orgullo Ser Hispano, pick up the plate at your local office. And don't forget that we are hosting an immigration summit April 7th, coming up April 7th at the downtown Orlando Sheraton Hotel. Look us up on www.hispanicachievers.org for information on all of these items, the plate, the lawyer's directory, and also the immigration summit. Jose, thanks so much. It's been fun. I know that you're really surprised about my attitude.
Yeah, we're going to have the doctor come in the next time.
Listen. Well, maybe they should. I think that, you know, I'm leaning this way now. You know what I mean? Because I've seen so much baloney go down, and I'm just tired of it. This is Danny Ramos on Hispanic Speak Out TV. We will see you next week. Jose, anything that you want to say before you want to say goodbye? Anything?
Let's stay together. Let's keep it in touch. And if you want to know a little bit more about me, www.yosoylatino.us.
Okay. And you have a website up there?
Yep.
On for radio, or is it your
everything?
Good. And you'll be here next week?
Yep.
Okay, we'll see you next week, brother.
All right,
okay? Don't forget www.hispanicachievers.org. We'll see you next week right here, Tuesday night, Bright House Cable, 9:30 p.m. Thank you.